Alright, hi everybody, thanks for tuning in to Haunting Live podcast from our brand new studio in the Isolation podcast for Haunting Live. So we have been doing a few tweaks this week, trying to upgrade our studio here at home for you guys, make it a little more interesting. Something that we've always wanted to do as well is to have a base studio where we can broadcast and do our Haunting Live proper podcast from. And since we're all in isolation now and at home, we had some time to actually research and find out how to do this, and we wanted to actually do this tonight and do a test for you guys to see how this works and what we can do with an actual broadcasting type system for Haunting Live from our home-based studio. So we got the software installed, we did some tweaks. Took us about 2 days or so to get the set up properly, which wasn't too bad as I thought, but we did have some difficulties, of course. We have to run the camera off the desktop, we had to get the software installed, do some tweaks and figure out what we wanted to do with it, and also we're running green screen, as you can see, so that's pretty cool. So rather than just going off our phones all the time for you guys, we want to up a little bit and see what we can do for you and get something kind of cool going for Haunting Live podcast. So basically I'll explain the layout a little bit of how we're doing this. So you guys are watching us live on Facebook. We have a software running on the computer in the background that's linked to Facebook. So our Facebook account goes live when we go live through the software. And we are running a green screen in the background. As you can see behind me here, there's pictures in behind, and that's the green screen, so you may see some little bits of pixelation here and there, but that should fix itself once it catches up with the stream. It should be alright, and we'll probably change those pictures in the background periodically throughout every podcast and just give you guys a different background.
Shannon Kelly says, hi Trevor. Wanda says basically though that she likes the new background.
Oh, that's good. Hi Wanda, hi Shelly, thanks guys for tuning in to Haunting Live tonight. We are in our new studio here. We are doing a live stream off our new broadcasting software, and we got the software all set up. We got green screen running in the background behind us, which is pretty sweet. I like it, so hopefully we'll continue to use this for the home-based studio broadcasts for you guys for Haunting Live in this format. And other features in this format that we actually decided to include, we have the main screen here, so this is our main screen where you guys will see me and the green screen behind me. Up here, this is a pen, sorry I'm holding, it's not working that well, but there is a pen or a box up here beside me I'm pointing to right now. This is going to be our ad space. So when we do these podcasts live from our studio, we will have ad areas where we can input either our upcoming events that we guys want you guys to know about, any new things that we're working on. We can have little flyers up there, or we could also have you guys send us things if you guys want to advertise your stuff as well. We can put your advertisement in that box area too. Also down below on here,
Chrissy can't hear anymore, and actually Shannon said basically a little bit hissing.
Oh, okay. Basically down here is our logo and the podcast title, and below that we have the streaming news ticker. It's a scrolling ticker which will just describe what we're talking about for the topics for each podcast that we do. So as you guys can see tonight, we have a bunch of different things that we're going to be talking about. And of course at the end we'll still do a spirit communication session with you guys over the Portal app, and that one will actually appear right here, right below the ad box on the left. So once we get to that point, we will actually start the Portal app and it will appear live, and hopefully you guys will just be able to hear it and see it at the same time. So that was one of the other goals. Rather than just talking about what's going on with the apps and what we're listening to, we wanted you guys to actually be able to see it also as we're doing it. So hopefully you guys like this new setup. We'll continue doing it for next week, and let us know of any issues that you guys have tonight. This is our first trial basis of it. We did a test yesterday and today, and it seemed to go okay once we got it posted. So hopefully once we get this posted up tonight, We'll see if there's any other issues with it and get those tweaked out for next week as well. So if you guys have any issues, just let us know and we'll try to fix those up. So
actually, I said he's refreshed. Actually, Brenda McCory, it says basically she can hear both. Sounds good.
Okay, good. So maybe some people are okay, some people might have some issues. If you have issues, try just resetting your browser and see if that helps. I had to, when we first started live tonight here on the podcast, my image wasn't showing up from the camera directly. So I just had to reset the camera, so maybe that caused an issue with the audio as well. I don't know yet. But hopefully it's going okay. The mic level looks like it's all right here on my end. So if there's any issues, please do let me know. And we will try to get that fixed up for next week's podcast. So it's a little bit better. But hopefully you guys like this new look and feel to the podcast. We do. It's something that we've always wanted to try out. An actual studio-based podcast where we can do different things and play with different effects and have what we want on here for you guys to enjoy. So let's see how many people we have in now.
We got 6.
Okay, 6 then at the current time.
Yeah.
All right.
Alright, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Just let them know I'm actually on here on chat.
Yeah, so I'm on hosting tonight. I'm not sure how we're going to do the continuing hosting as it goes forward. We're probably going to switch out back and forth, so maybe Chris will be hosting one night, then I'll do the next night kind of thing, or the next week. But right now I'm doing it for tonight for the first trial, and then Chris is in on chat tonight. He's on the other computer here, but we're in the same studio right here tonight. So if you guys have any questions for Chris, please feel free to type them in chat, and we will get those answered as well. So I think it has to be down to be the fresh ones. Okay, so let's continue on here, guys, and we'll go with the layout and the schedule we have laid out for tonight's Haunting Live podcast, Isolation Podcast number 6. Yes, we've been doing this for 6 weeks now. We are hitting very close to day 40 for myself in isolation at home. Things are going quite well, surprisingly. Not too many issues going on around with the sport as usual, as I'm sure everybody else is. But we're trying to make our way through it the best we can by doing stuff like this, producing our podcast still from home for you guys. And I also work from home, so my weekday is full of just doing my normal jobs here at home for my work. And then we also try to still do this on the weekends for you guys. So we want to, like I said, up this a little bit and try to get something a little bit cooler going for Haunting Live while we're at home. But otherwise, things have been going pretty good for us. No new issues or anything like that. The main thing that we've been focusing on in our lives is our move coming up. We are planning on moving, if you guys don't know. We are currently living still in our current place, obviously. But we are soon to be moving in May next month. We're going to be in our brand new place, and we want to have this studio also set up there, so we can just jump on and do Haunting Live from our new place. So we're getting quite excited. Can't wait to leave this place. Things have not been good at this place. If you guys don't know, we've been having a lot of issues with the construction that's going to be going on around here. It's been going on for 2 years and counting now. They're doing the building. They're working on the parking lot. There's dirt and mud everywhere. There's fences up everywhere. They've taken away parking spots for the last 2 years. And it's just been a mess for the last 2 years, basically, of stress. And now with the COVID-19 stuff, we're stuck at home in this mess, and we just can't really deal with that stress level anymore. So back around January, we decided that we would start looking for another place, and we found one that's even closer to work. Once we get out of this isolation stuff, we can go back to work pretty quickly now. And that'll be nice. So there's lots of great amenities at this new place that we're going to. It's actually going to be on the 12th floor of the building, so we'll have a beautiful view of the city. A nice huge balcony that's on the deck. We can stand outside and look across the city on the west side of the city. There's also other amenities like a pool there. There's a workout room, sauna. There's an elevator for getting up and down, obviously, which we don't have here, which is going to be nice. And parking as well, which is going to be the number one issue. So I will actually get to have my very own parking spot. So that's going to be awesome.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So. But other than that, things have been going quite well. How are things going on with you guys that are watching tonight? Hopefully you're weathering this isolation like we are. Hopefully you're doing okay. And who knows when we're going to be out of things. There's not really been any news yet on that topic. Premier Ford was supposed to actually announce some more news this week about how he's going to bring Ontario out of this and what we would be doing when we first start to come out of this, but he has postponed that now until next week. So we're going to have to wait till next week to find out what the procedures will be when they start releasing us out of this isolation and how we can manage with that. So I'm really looking forward to that and trying to find out sort of how things are going to play out, what stores are going to be allowed to be open, what's not going to be open till later, that kind of stuff.
Chrissy Collins types in, yes, keeping busy.
Yeah, you can busy, Chrissy. That's awesome. Hopefully you're dealing with your energy spirits up there as well. But yeah, so we're hoping that we're going to find out some more news from Premier Ford hopefully next week about what he's planning on releasing for people to know about coming out of isolation and when that might be. That's also going to be the key thing, is when that isolation date's going to be over and things go back to normal a little bit. That's the main thing that's stressing me out, is just wondering when that news is going to be released, because I'm really the type of person that wants to know the details about things. I'm kind of a detail-oriented person, so I want to know, okay, what numbers do we need to reach in order to be at that level that we can get out of isolation, and what are the procedures going to be once we do get out of isolation? What do we have to do, basically? So I don't know, and that's kind of what's causing me a little bit of stress right now.
All right. So basically, Chrissy Dawn,
Yep.
actually she puts down, just as long as they don't open up the gates for the states.
Yeah.
Chrissy Collins says being filming abandoned locations.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, for Chrissy Dawn about opening the borders again, yeah, that's another big issue that I'm worried about as well, because we are so close to the States down here. People always come up here to go to stuff like Niagara Falls and stuff like that. So if they decide to open the borders too early, that's not going to be a good thing for Canada, and it will just put us all back in isolation a lot sooner again until this is over again. And I hope they just keep to the word that they will watch the numbers closely and keep us in as long as we need to be. So if they open it too soon, then that's not good. Like some places in the States are already open, which is not good. I think they're going to have a lot more issues and cases down there within the next coming weeks or months, and they're going to find out really quickly what they just did wrong. So,
all right. So again, Chrissy Collins says she's been filming abandoned places, actually up in the Thunder Bay area.
Okay. Yeah, Chrissy, that's awesome. Can you tell us maybe what kind of places you've been to? Obviously, I'm from Thunder Bay as well, so I know a lot of the places around there, and if you've been to some interesting places, feel free to chat about those, and we can bring them up here tonight and see what you found, if you found anything cool. So we haven't been going out to too many places. We're trying to actually just stay home ourselves and just kind of weather this out until, like I was just talking about when Premier Ford says that he's going to start opening things up slowly, and maybe at that point we'll start heading out. I just don't want to chance things too much and do the wrong things. So,
all right, all around
Commie Township. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Have you found anything interesting, Christy? Have you gone over your evidence yet and caught anything cool?
Now, Trevor, what area is that by any chance?
Conmee, I think, is kind of sort of North Thunder Bay, if I remember right. I think it's sort of up towards Quebec in that area. But I can't fully remember where that is, so maybe Chrissy can describe where that is also.
All right. And Trevor's been wanting me actually out of the house.
Yeah, that's one other thing. We just got out of the house today for the first time in a couple of days, so it's actually really beautiful weather here today in southern Ontario, in Waterloo. So we had, what was it, about 13 degrees today. So it was a beautiful sunny day, and it was awesome to be outside. We just didn't go too far. We had to drop some stuff off at my work, and we just did that. We dropped one thing off at a friend's place. She wasn't home, so we just left it at her doorstep.
Actually, she was in bed.
And we just left it on the doorstep anyway, so we didn't interact with her at all. So.
And a message back from Chrissy Collins. Actually, oh yes, and then you're right, Trevor.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was in the right spot. Okay, that's great.
All right. So basically, let's get actually on with the latest of this week.
Yes. So that's basically what we've been doing. So if you guys have been doing anything interesting, trying to keep yourselves busy, just let us know in chat what you've been up to. And we'll continue on with some topics here of discussion. So I'm going to go with, first of all, going on the latest numbers for Canada and also for Ontario as of today for COVID-19. Canada so far has a total of 45,035 confirmed cases. So that's over 45,000 confirmed cases. People that have recovered so far from cases is 16,320, and there have been 2,462 deaths in Canada so far, countrywide. So in Ontario, numbers are for confirmed cases 13,995, recovered is 7,509, and deaths 811 deaths in Ontario. So if you calculate that, 800 deaths in Ontario and 2,400 basically deaths in Canada, that's actually a pretty high number for Ontario. So I really hope that people pay attention to these numbers that are coming out daily and realize that the more you guys go out and the more you guys do things that you think you're allowed to do when you're not, it's just going to prolong it for everybody, as I've been saying for the past several podcasts here. I really believe in doing what's right. We should be staying home. We shouldn't be going out. If you guys are the ones that are thinking that you guys can just go out and do things as normal, you're the ones that's going to be costing everybody their jobs, their livelihoods, and things that they like to do once we get back to normal, because they're going to be keeping us in isolation a lot longer. So
to go back actually with Christy, she's got actually a lot of EVP. She's going to be actually sharing the rest of it actually on her Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for that.
That's okay. Is Chrissy going to be doing some of her podcasts as well, going back on Facebook?
We'll just wait.
Because I know she used to do Facebook Live as well, so maybe she could update and do a Facebook Live with her findings on some of her EVPs. That would be really cool.
Alright, so what's next actually on the list?
Of course, next on the list is the other big news event of this past week or so. And that obviously is the mass shooting that took place in Nova Scotia. We just want to touch on that a little bit and recognize that as a selfish and needless act that took place, and it shouldn't have happened at this time. Everybody's stressed, everybody is dealing with this in their own ways, and obviously I think that proves that some people cannot handle what is happening here in the world, and I think they need to realize what they've been doing to people and realize that stuff like that obviously is not okay. Like, if you need help, there are helplines out there for people to deal with mental health issues, and maybe if this person that did this act was able to get the help that they needed quicker, this would not have happened, because everybody's stressed right now, and to have something like Canada's worst mass shooting happen during a time when everybody's supposed to be in lockdown is not something that we need right now as a country. So there are helplines out there. Chris and I are big people for mental health, and Chris actually worked in CHMA. He's trained in that field, and we deal with that on case-by-case basis. When we do investigations, we have to kind of prioritize and deal with that as people come to us and see what their issues are. And if they do have mental issues, that can play a big case into investigating their property or whatever they want us to do. So we're really aware of what mental issues are, and being in the paranormal field, I think that has us a leg over on some people that don't understand it, and maybe this person just didn't know what to do with that. So what we found out so far in the news about that is that this person had an argument or a fight with his girlfriend before this happened, and then went out and committed that act. So on a personal note, regarding that, my parents have some friends that actually live in that town that this took place in, and the driver actually that was doing it drove down their road. So my parents talked to our friends just after it happened to make sure they were okay, and actually found out that they were out for a walk at the time this was happening, because they were in isolation as well, and they were just getting out for a walk, and their neighbors actually called them to say get back home. So they did manage to get back home and be safe, but it could have been worse because that guy just drove right past their house, basically down the road. So we're just really thankful that nothing happened to them out there. But we just want to recognize that in the news, and it's a terrible thing that happened, and we don't need that at this time. So please, everybody, that if you're thinking of doing anything, or if you're thinking you have issues, there is help out there for you guys. There is the suicide hotline and stuff like that. So please do get help if you think you need it.
Alright, so basically, Chrissy Dawn, wow, right? Chrissy Collins says actually something about healing light scent.
Yeah, she was
Chrissy Dawn actually just replied back. She says, sorry to hear for the people who lost their loved ones.
Yeah, I believe there were 22 was the final number of people that lost their lives during that, and like I said, the number of people that are dying just because of some virus that's out there. We don't need some person just going out there and doing that. It just is not necessary right now. So thanks guys again for tuning in. We really appreciate you joining us here on Haunting Live Podcast. We are in isolation podcast number 6 tonight. We are nearly 40 days into my isolation. What number are you guys at? When did you guys start isolating? I started in March. My first day was March 18th. And like I said, I'm almost at day 40 now, so it's been just over a month, a week over. So like I said, we're dealing with it just like everybody else, staying home when we're supposed to, and getting out when we can. So we just normally go out for groceries and come back, or go to work and grab a Starbucks and then come back and stuff like that. So
Karen just logged in.
Okay. Great to see
right,
everybody.
And then Chrissy Collins says, don't even know, LOL.
Thanks guys for tuning in to Haunting Live tonight. We are in our brand new Haunting Live studio. We're doing a broadcast system here on our new studio, and this is the kind of setup we'll bring to you from now on from our home studio. So
she goes, day by day, I'm taking care of my kids and dad.
Oh, that's good.
Now the kids, Christy, is Chris back here? Are those the new kittens that you have by any chance for kids?
I think she means her kids at home and her dad.
Right?
Yeah. Because I know her dad does live with her, I think, now still, so.
Alright, so what else is actually on the agenda?
Other ones are, we can just go over some local news that's been happening in our area here. We want to sort of incorporate that as well for those of you that live down here in our area that watch us. Basically, the first thing is dealing with some grocery stores and stuff like that. The store Loblaws down here, they have started allowing people that are on the front line, if they have a medical ID, they can actually get in for free, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so they can go in for free as long as they have...
Free for basically first in line actually at checkout.
Yeah. Sorry, first in line at checkout is what they're doing for Loblaws. So that's great. If you're a first line worker, you can go into a Loblaw store and actually show them your ID and you get first of the line checkout. So that's really amazing for them. Other things this week happening down here, there has been an outbreak in the Grand River Hospital here in Kitchener-Waterloo. So if any of you live down here in Kitchener-Waterloo, just be cautious if you do have to go into the hospital. Find out what their procedures are for going in first. I'm not too sure where to find that out. Maybe they do have some information on their website, I would assume. Or give them a call and just find out what the procedures are if you have to have a hospital visit at Grand River here in Kitchener-Waterloo, because there has been an outbreak at that location. So, and the other thing we want to touch upon is Tim Hortons. There's some Tim Hortons news. Tim Hortons is now requiring masks to be worn at all times. So
for staff members.
For staff members. So all staff members have to wear masks in Tim Hortons. I believe it's only drive-thrus open still, as it is with most places. So as long as you go up to the drive-thru, they should be wearing their mask at the counter there. And as well, I think they were doing something else too.
Testing.
They're also testing their employees daily too. So every Tim Hortons employee, if you're worried about getting your coffee in the morning, they are being tested as well. So just so you guys know that if you're going to Tim Hortons for coffee or donuts or snacks, they have to wear their masks now, and they have to be tested as well. So that's a step up from, I guess, what they were doing. So,
Chris back here, you, Tim Hortons?
Yeah. We are both actually Starbucks people, so there's a Starbucks located 2 doors down from my work location. So when we go to drop stuff off from my work, we just swing in there and grab our Starbucks on the way back home. So, and that's about all we go out for these days. We don't do much. We just go out, drop stuff off at work, and come back home. So. But we might go for a walk and stuff like that, just into the cemetery that's close by here. It's great for walking in. It's a pretty big cemetery, and they got trails and stuff all through there, so we like to hang out there and go for a quick walk and back home. So
for Chrissy Collins, next city over.
Yes, it is in the next city over, Chrissy, yes. That's where actually we'll be moving to, so that won't be any longer. We're going to be in that city coming up in next month here, so... We'll be out of Waterloo and back into Kitchener, where we will be living. So, okay, and that takes pretty much.
And then the next thing, those Skinwalkers.
Yeah, that takes care of the COVID-19 update for us for this week. If you guys have any news for COVID that you have experienced when you've been out, just let us know in chat. So, but the next topic, so we'll drop that one now and go on to our next topic. We've been watching a new show that just started airing, and this is a really interesting area. I'm sure you guys in the paranormal field have heard of the location in Utah called the Skinwalker Ranch, where a lot of different and strange paranormal stuff has been happening over the past several, I guess, decades. So, there's been a lot of different things happening there, a lot of different things being reported there by different owners, people that have lived on that property, that ranch down there in Utah.
Thunder Bay actually had his final death actually for COVID.
Oh, okay.
Alright, to go on with Skinwalkers.
Yeah, so basically down in Utah, there's a ranch down there that's very highly paranormally active. A lot of strange things have been happening down there over the last several centuries. And there have been different owners that have owned it. Robert Bigelow has owned it, and there's a new person that owns it now. That new person that owns it now has actually just come out with a brand new TV show called Secret at Skinwalker Ranch. This show was supposed to be aired on, I think, Discovery, was it?
History.
Or History Channel, one of those?
Yeah. Here in Canada, it's actually online only.
Yeah, so I think it's on the History Channel in the States, possibly. So we were looking for it here. We couldn't find it on the History Channel here. But we did find it online on YouTube. So they are posting those episodes onto YouTube. So if you guys want to check that series out, it's really interesting so far. We've watched the first 4 episodes of it. And when it first started, I will admit I was a bit skeptical of it just by the way they were acting in the very first episode. And they got several of the facts wrong in the first episode, I thought. So my first kind of opinions of the show in the first episode was kind of iffy. But I decided to give it a shot and go ahead and continue watching it because it's an area that really interests me. I've done a lot of research on Skinwalker. And there's been a lot of different cases that have happened there. if you guys know the area, know the stories, you can know them. But I'll just go over a couple of the quick ones here. The people that originally owned it were called the Shermans, and they owned the ranch originally, okay? So weird stuff started happening to them when they started living on the ranch. They lived in a little house on the land, and it's basically like all the fields down there are like desert and stuff in Utah, so it's like a very wide open deserty type area. And there's some hills on the far end of the property called the Masons, I think they call it.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of activity happening around those hills in the back, but they also have a lot of paranormal type activities happening in the homesteads that are on the ranch itself. So they have things like paranormal stuff happening, like seeing shadows and ghosts and stuff. They have a lot of alien activity happening on there. They've seen, I believe, aliens and stuff on the property. They've had a lot of UFO encounters, obviously, on the property. They've had a lot of strange creatures show up on the property, like cryptids and stuff. So they've had things such as Bigfoot show up. They've had a lot of different weird creatures like shadow people and stuff like that. They've had different cryptid animals show up. So one of the first stories that happened was actually this huge wolf actually showed up on the property. I think the very first day that the Shermans were owned the land, they were just out sort of looking around the property. And this wolf came up to them like it was their pet. It was that friendly to them. They were just able to walk up and touch it and stuff. But they had some calves and cows and cattle and stuff on the ranch with them. And all of a sudden, this wolf decided to start attacking one of the calves of the cattle. And I guess Mr. Sherman started running for his gun, grabbed his gun, started shooting at this wolf creature. And he shot several rounds into it and apparently didn't even faze the creature. So it took, I think, 6 shots or something to it before it even started to flinch. And it started running off after a few more shots, and then they decided to go follow this creature from the blood trail, and they couldn't find it afterward. The blood trail just stopped, so it almost like it just vanished somewhere. There's been other things like cattle mutilations on the property. That's one of the most common things. They've had different things happen to their cattle, like it being trapped in a trailer when they couldn't get in there. And on the series that we've been watching on TV, they had some recent episode 4 is the latest one that we just watched, and they actually caught a UFO on camera as they were doing some readings with rockets. They were sending rockets up into the atmosphere, trying to get the readings at a certain level to see what the radiation and stuff was in the air. And as soon as they did that, the cattle started behaving weird, moving to the far side of the property, and this silver sort of flashy UFO kind of showed up, and they caught it on camera, not once but twice while they were doing that activity. So it's really been an interesting show so far. I think it's worth checking out. If you guys want to check out Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, just search for it on YouTube, and you guys can check it out as well.
Trev, sorry for interrupting, but you want to explain exactly right when the guys looked up at first, what else was flying up in the sky?
There was a UFO.
What else was actually up in the sky?
Can't remember.
Airplane.
Oh, right. Yeah, there was actually an airplane as well in the sky at the time because it was leaving a contrail beside it. So the airplane was going at normal speed, but this UFO, the shiny little silver UFO, was actually just kind of flying beside it. So it was almost as if it was following the aircraft. So they have all of that on camera on the episode, which is really interesting. And there was like 6 witnesses to that when they were doing that group thing with the rockets they were sending up.
Now, is Thunder Bay well known for a hotspot?
Thunder Bay is a hotspot for UFO activity. Anything with water is a hotspot, so like Niagara Falls is a hotspot. Out east, there's a big story that back in history occurred, and I think it's the Falcon Lake incident. That is another big one that took place over water. So a lot of things to have to do with water is a big hotspot for UFO activity. But this one, they were also talking about water in this episode and what it has to do with UFO activity. They're not too sure. But there is, you wouldn't think has to do with it in this location because Skinwalker Ranch is in sort of the Utah desert. But there was a reservoir or something that they were talking about, correct, in this episode that was close by?
Yeah, they're close to water.
Yeah, they were close to a reservoir, so they think that has something to do
a mile away.
Yeah, a mile away or so from the ranch. So they think that has something to do with the UFO appearances as well. But I think it's an interesting show that you guys might want to check out and tune into on YouTube anyway. I think it's only available on TV in the States at this time. So, but it just seems weird to me. I just want to bring up one other point about it before we get off that topic. I think it's really weird because they've been doing all this research on it when Robert Bigelow, the first person that bought it from the original owners, the Shermans, they had it. Robert Bigelow bought it, and he kept a total secret and didn't allow anybody on there. He had like guards on the property so people wouldn't trespass on it, stuff like that. And he had a secret team of people that were allowed onto there to do their research and stuff like that. But now all of a sudden, a new owner has it, and they're doing a TV show from there. That just seems weird to me. Like, I don't understand how one person can keep it secret and all this UFO stuff and paranormal stuff secret, and all of a sudden it just changes owners and they're just allowed to put a TV show out about it. Like, that just seems a little bit weird to me. I think there'd be weird stipulations that you couldn't do that kind of thing if it was owned by certain people like that. It just seems like a weird catch to me. So what do you guys think? Yeah.
Right now we actually have 5 people actually tuning in.
Great. Thanks, guys, for tuning in again to Haunting Live Podcast. We are in Isolation Podcast number 6 tonight. Hopefully you guys have been tuning into our previous podcasts. We thank you very much, and we hope you like this new look that we have. We are doing a studio podcast from now on in our studio here. So hopefully you guys like this new look. If you do, let us know. If you'd like to see any changes, any suggestions what we could do for the future, we'll try to do those for you guys too.
Alright, actually, Shirley, this strangest thing just happened.
Okay.
When Chris asked what else in the sky, my computer changed website.
Oh, it changed website by itself?
That's from Shirley.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of stuff can happen, and it's really just strange when it does. So I think it's really interesting that they're allowed to have a TV show about it when the previous owner that was a billionaire was allowed to keep it total secret. But this next owner all of a sudden is allowed to have a full TV show on network TV about it and have people on property doing filming and stuff. It just seems really strange to me that for decades and stuff it was kept secret, a big secret. Nobody knew anything about it besides some stories that leaked out. And now all of a sudden it's on TV, so it just seems a little bit strange to me. But I hope they get some good evidence out of it, and I hope we see some good evidence.
Maybe the old owner was a skeptic,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Sherman was a skeptic at that point because he wasn't into the paranormal. He wasn't anything like that. He wasn't an investigator or nothing. He didn't buy it for that purpose. He bought it for a ranch to own. He was actually, his actual job was to deal with the cattle, so he was like a professional in the cattle field, and he had prize cattle there. So that's one reason why they called people in to help, was to find out what was going on with all the cattle mutilations and stuff like that. So
after the podcast, for anybody that can actually hear me, let you know, you can go through my actually Facebook page, scroll down, and I actually have episode 4 actually on my page.
Yeah. So we just posted that up there, so you guys can check out the latest episode of Skinwalker Ranch. Secret of Skinwalker Ranch is called. If you guys are into the paranormal, it's a really hot area for that kind of stuff. It has everything you ever wanted, from just normal paranormal stuff like ghost stuff to UFO stuff to weird creatures being on the properties. So,
and once was a native land.
Yeah, and it's also a native land all over there, so that also maybe has something to do with it too.
Shirley said, okay, sounds good.
So,
I'll do it for afterwards, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Anything else, Trev?
That's it for the topics I think we want to talk about before we get into spirit communication here. So we've been going for about half hour now. So again, I want to thank you guys so much for checking out Haunting Live Podcast with us tonight. We are in a new studio tonight. We're doing a broadcasting type podcasts from now on in the isolation podcast that we do from home. Once we get out of isolation and we go back into locations, we will just be doing our normal phone mobile broadcasts that we do from locations for you guys. But if we're doing anything like this, it'll be more of a production type podcast for you guys, where you can ask questions, we can talk about topics, we can have different things going on, and hopefully we'll just continue to do this. If you guys, like I said, have any suggestions that you want to see on this podcast in the future, we'll try to get that done for you guys. But for now, we'll continue on, and we'll get into the spirit communication part like we always like to do for you guys during this isolation, bringing messages from spirit and see if they have any messages for anybody that's in chat, or if they just have any random things they want to say. You guys are also welcome to ask questions and chat with us, and we can provide those to spirit and see what answers we get through the apps that we like to use. Now, the app that we're going to use tonight is one that we've been using lately, which is called the Portal app. It's a free download on Google Play. You can just go to Google and search for it under the Google Play Store. It's free. Just download and install, and you can try it out yourself. We've had pretty good results with it, using it from time to time. Like anything, you've got to really watch for the words that come through to your situation where you're investigating or that you're asking questions about, and see what those answers are. If you make a connection, you may understand it right away immediately. Maybe there's a word that comes through that makes no sense to you at the time, but that may actually connect at a later time. So we find it pretty good. Yeah, we'll pull up the window here in a second. I'm going to switch stuff back on here.
Do apologize, everybody, for the break.
We'll just take a quick break while we set this up again here. Just give me 1 second. Okay, let me turn it on. Alright, it's turned on, so we'll turn the window on. So while you guys are watching this layout here, it's going to appear right here onto my left.
I mean, you're right.
Let me know if you guys can hear it okay. You guys should now be able to see the Portal app window open here on Haunting Live.
Just showing on your end?
Yeah.
You hear that?
You hear that? In love with?
You're lucky.
Me?
Why?
No, we're not.
What? I didn't hear what it said. What did it say?
No, we're not.
Can hear it, but not seeing the
No,
Portal
not
app.
yet. There it goes. Okay. I think there's a delay on it, so it may take a while for when I click it on to actually appear. So you may hear the sound before it comes on visual for you guys. So that may be something we have to work with.
Do you want to lower, if you can, lower that speed? You want to slide in the center?
Yep. There. Okay, so you guys should now be able to see the app, which is right here. And it's called the Portal app, the one that we've been using for the last couple podcasts for you guys. If you have any questions, like I said, just let us know, and we will try to pass those on and see if spirits have any messages tonight. He ran. I just heard.
No.
That was a clear no from a male. Spirit, do you have any messages for us tonight? Anything regarding COVID-19?
Chrissy wants to know if you can actually get her mom to come through.
Okay. I just heard a hello.
We heard a hello, Chrissy.
I know that sound like her, Chrissy. We just had a hello. Louie again. We've had Louie last week.
She's pretty good actually at these communication things.
That's good. What's her name, Chrissy? I think it's a vlog.
A little yes.
Okay. It's a vlog again. That's lovely.
A-L-A-N-E.
Elaine. Elaine, if you're here, could you come through for Chrissy tonight, please, if you want to talk to us? Oh, say Chrissy. Yeah, just say Chrissy. She
that's what she just typed in. Any message for me by any chance? That's actually for Shirley.
Any cat or cat?
Any cat?
Any cat? Have to go or something? Any spirits have messages for Shirley tonight? Any messages for Shirley?
I heard COVID.
Yeah, I heard COVID and I heard yes or no. That was the N word. Here's Joseph. Anybody?
I'm sorry, I gotta laugh. Actually, Brenda McCormick said, my mother said that she would haunt us when she passed away.
Yeah.
That has been 15 years ago, and I'm still waiting and hoping.
Okay. Well, let's just put it out there. Any messages for anybody that's with us tonight? Can Spirit please come through and ask us anything or tell us anything? Proving it. I just heard it say proving it. Yes, you are proving it to us. Do we have to prove anything to you? Oh, that was twice the same word.
What was that?
Same person. Yeah, there's a third time. Yawn or something. Sound like the name Yawn or something like that. Yawn. It came through 3 times from the same female voice. 0.
0 came through again.
0 just came through twice from the same male voice. What does 0 mean?
Chrissy said that's her mom's voice.
Oh, the yawn was?
Yawn sounds better. From Chrissy Collins. But Chrissy, sorry, that was Chrissy Dawn that says yawn says, but it sounds better. But Chrissy Collins says that's my mom's voice.
Okay, great. Female. I think you said something like that. Mom. Somebody just said mom. Look at me. Sorry. Listen.
We've had a lot of strange energy today here.
Yeah, we had some stuff happen here today too. We can tell you about. We had some stuff ready to take outside and sitting by the door, and we have our umbrella and stuff beside the table at the door. And the umbrella just fell over by itself, and then something fell off the pile that we had set there. So we think some energy was around us today as well. So.
Cecil.
Cecil? We had that before.
Cecil.
Yeah. The walls hurt.
Chrissy Collins actually said wild cool.
Where is it? Was that? Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. You're coming in pretty strong. What's your name? What's your name? We can hear you. The female voice, we can hear you. Yeah.
I heard that male say something.
Yes. But there's a female that's trying to come through.
Can Chrissy's mom please come forward?
Stupid.
Alright. Shirley, when we were actually at her grocery store, a bread and loaf flew actually off the shelf. No one was around them also.
Yeah. No one. Is there a female that's trying to talk to us? Come through again. Yawn. Yawn, come back through. Are you still here, Yawn? I'm here, yes. What do you want to tell us? Number. What number? What number has to do with it?
I heard that.
Yeah, that was the same thing twice.
I heard stop it.
No, we're not going to stop it. We're trying to talk to you. Burger. COVID. What's the number we need to reach for COVID?
Alright, I like what Chrissy put down. A lot of stuff is going to happen that so many people have actually passed away in such a short time.
Yeah. That's one thing I was talking about in the past too, is with all this death that's going on and the veil being so thin, a lot of people at home as well, they're going to be in a lot of energy that they're not used to, and things are going to be starting to happen to them that they don't know what's going on. And we said in the past, if you guys need any help, I know people that are having issues with the paranormal while they're at home and they don't know what to do, just have us message us and we can try and help them out with that kind of stuff. So, because I think that's going to be a big issue right now for a lot of people, is the energy will pick up because of all these deaths, and people are not going to know what to do with the energy because they're stuck at home as well. So come through, spirits. Do you have any messages? What's the number message? What's that number?
Chrissy says that she's basically approached daily.
Yeah. Where are you? I'm here. Where are you? Do you have a number message for us? Washroom. Magic. There's been a lot of one-worders right now. Written. Can you tell us anything about COVID-19? Any news for COVID-19, Spirit?
There's a message actually here from Christy Dawn. I'll give you the spelling of the name. E-L-I-N-A. Sorry, N-E. Mm-hmm. She's asking to see if she can get that.
Can Christy's mom come through? Christy's grandmother? I thought it was her mom, but... Can Elaine come through? I have. Female just said I have. Did that sound like her?
Right, and then also from Shirley, you can ask... Sorry, can you ask if there's a name Ross there, please?
Ross?
Yeah.
Can a person named Ross please come through if you're here, Spirit? Ross. We're looking for Ross. Any messages? He's Ross, it sounds like.
Put your hand out if you come behind you. She's gonna be live. Chrissy's gonna be live tomorrow actually on her Facebook.
Alright.
Alright, but that's
good. We will look forward to watching Chrissy next week. She just told us that...
No. She'll be actually on our podcast.
Oh, on our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We will definitely be open to having guests online as well, so that's something that we could also do. Or we could try to do either video guests, so we can do chat is one thing I'd like to get working, so we can do chat back and forth on screen. If not, we'll definitely have people on the phone and talking to us as guests on this podcast. So if you guys want to be on the podcast, if you have anything interesting you want to talk about as a topic, feel free to message us. And we'll schedule you in.
Chrissy Dawn says too fast.
Yeah. It's I don't know if I can go slow.
No, you are slow.
3, 4. Somebody was counting. So 3, 4. No. 3 again, same voice.
Alright, so Chrissy says that she has no problem being actually on video next week.
Okay. So we'll try to get Chrissy on as our guest next week on video if we can work it out here. That's one thing we have not tried yet for this podcast on this version. But it's one thing I want to get going on here for Haunting Live. So we'll try and test that out throughout next week and get a video chat session going for the podcast number 7 next week. So.
Alright, and then tomorrow she's going to be actually on the group Phoenix Paranormal.
Oh, okay. The Phoenix Paranormal Group, the Thunder Bay.
Alright, so basically though, it's Chrissy Dawn. I thought I heard Shirley, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Spirits, do you have any messages for anybody in chat that have been asking for people to come through? There's been a request for Ross. Is Ross here? Ross, we're looking to talk to Spirit Ross. No. Filler. Okay, not getting too much more here. So I think we'll close it off here pretty soon for tonight's Haunting Live podcast. We've been going for about an hour now, a bit. It's now 9:15, so I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in to our new format in our studio here. And hope you enjoyed this new format that we have for Haunting Live podcast. It's our new studio, so we'll be using this format carrying forward for our home-based studios, only if we go out on locations once things open back up. We have a few things to reschedule, so we hope to get back into those locations we had planned on for this year. And we'll just be bringing those as the normal live Haunting Lives. This is live as well, but it's a different format. And we hope you guys like it. So thanks very much for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed it and liked the new layout and stuff. If you have any suggestions that you want to see on the podcast, just let us know. We'll try to incorporate those into the format. And of course, if you want to be on the show, we can have guests and interviews and stuff like that as well on this type of format. So we'll be able to get that working for you for our next podcast next week.
Shirley said though that she basically enjoys the show, guys.
Great, thank you. We also appreciate you guys very much for tuning in every week like you do, being loyal fans of Haunting Live and what we do. We can't wait to get back out there and start investigating some more spots. And once things hopefully open up later by, well, we're hoping summer, or if not by the fall, we can get back into some locations that we had planned for this year. So we do have a few booked that we want to do, so we need to rebook those and get back into them, but we'll see what happens. But with that, thanks very much, guys. We will now cut it short and end Haunting Live here. Thanks for tuning in to Haunting Live Podcast, and have a great weekend, and happy hauntings.